Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. The tune from the away section half an hour in at Anfield was familiar Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. The name wasn't. That six-syllable chorus had long been reserved for "Oh, Robin van Persie" among Manchester United supporters. Last month, a different Dutchman was serenaded to the song. Joshua Zirkzee's warm-up in the first half at Liverpool marked a sea change. A week that had started with one of the most galling humiliations for a United player at Old Trafford ended with vocal support. It could have got better had Harry Maguire kept Zirkzee's bobbly square pass down in added time. It did get better a week later in the FA Cup third round at Arsenal. After Lenny Yoro converted in the shootout to put United 3-1 up, Bruno Fernandes prodded Zirkzee in the chest and offered him a few words. The message: be ready to win it. Lisandro Martinez scored United's fourth spot kick, so Zirkzee stepped up for the fifth. United fans had promised, if Zirkzee scores, we're on the pitch. Zirkzee held up his end of the bargain. United were in the velvet bag for the fourth round draw and the fifth. Their progress to the last 16 of the FA Cup is largely down to Zirkzee's impact against Leicester City on Friday night. He equalised and his general play ensured United rendered the memory of the stultifying first hour inconsequential. The 23-year-old is becoming an unlikely cult figure at United. The loyalists among the matchgoers railed against the heckles and booing Zirkzee was subjected to when he was removed in the 33rd minute against Newcastle, and now a match does not go by without an airing of Zirkzee's chant. He has only got 5 goals in 36 appearances, and Zirkzee has failed to score in 32 of those. But it is one more than Radamel Falcao and as many as Alexis Sanchez. One hopes for Zirkzee's sake, this is the only time he is bracketed with those two duds. Even before his career nadir against Newcastle, a well-placed figure at United stressed the club was intent on supporting Zirkzee and hopeful there was a lot more to come. We are starting to see glimpses. Zirkzee has been a contentious figure in a sorry season. He was the lightning rod that legislated for Dan Ashworth's defenestration as sporting director. Club figures claim Zirkzee was not an Erik Ten Hag-led signing, and Ashworth bristled when the deal was questioned during his sole interaction with the dedicated correspondents in September. Ten Hag had no direct connection with Zirkzee, but nor did he with Tyrell Malacia or Wout Weghorst. Nearly a quarter of the Dutchmen who have played for United were signed on Ten Hag's watch. The Newcastle night could have been a career killer for Zirkzee. Interest from Italian clubs seeking a cut price move for a player proven in Serie A soon emerged. Carrington sources say Zirkzee pushed back against the possibility of a mid-season move and was adamant he would stay. Zirkzee is popular in the United dressing room and has an easygoing sense of humour, which helped in the aftermath of the Newcastle substitution. United insiders say he did not feel sorry for himself or cry in a corner. He had to be coaxed back out to the dugout, having headed straight down the tunnel after he fetched a coat. Some supporters booed Zirkzee when he disappeared from view. After he re-emerged, there was encouraging applause as some sought to counter those who had audibly turned against him. Zirkzee was on the pitch at full time to applaud supporters in defeat. Zirkzee's presence helps. He is 6 feet 4 inches, and figures at United talk about him being seen rather than heard. Zirkzee has been a laconic interviewee on his 2 stop-offs in the Old Trafford mixed zone. He is not a demonstrative character, a club source said. In the days after the Newcastle defeat, those at the United training complex noticed Zirkzee was affected by his substitution, as any player would be. But his calmness has been apparent since his first day in Manchester, and he is regarded as a quietly determined character with an underrated steeliness. Zirkzee is never seen out and about in Cheshire. There has been a willingness from United staff for Zirkzee to succeed. He has gritted his teeth and got on with it since the turn of the year, producing influential performances in vital triumphs against Arsenal, Southampton and Leicester City on Friday. Nobody, least of all Zirkzee, is pretending he has cracked it. Ruben Amorim immediately substituted Zirkzee against Bournemouth in December after he lost an aerial duel, and he has not started in United's past 4 games. Of the 2 strikers, Zirkzee is more sellable than Højlund, He cost roughly half the price, and there is a market for him in Italy. He may yet be one season and done at United, who will target a goalscorer in the summer. The Leicester goal ended a drought of 11 goalless games, and Zirkzee went 17 without scoring between August and December. Whether he is a number 9, a 10, or whatever, he has got to pump his numbers up. After booking their place in the 5th round of the FA Cup on Friday night, focus now switches back to the Premier League for Manchester United. As a result of automatically qualifying for the Europa League last 16, United have the rare luxury of a clear midweek this week, meaning they are not in action again until Sunday, facing Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Despite recently progressing in the FA Cup and in the Europa League, United's league form has been terrible in recent weeks, highlighted by a run of 5 defeats in their last 8 matches. They were beaten 2-0 by Crystal Palace at Old Trafford in their last league outing. With an extended period of time to prepare for the trip to Spurs on offer this week, head coach Ruben Amorim will be hoping a full week on the training ground will be worth its weight in gold. The players were put through their paces at Carrington on Monday, and below are 5 things that we picked out from the training session, to go straight into the first team. Youngster Aidan Heaven made the bench for Friday night's win over Leicester. He arrived from Arsenal, having made just 1 competitive appearance in senior football, but United have high hopes he can become a first-team regular at Old Trafford. With Lisandro Martinez facing a spell on the sidelines with an ACL injury, United need all the options they can get at centre-back, meaning Heaven's first opportunity might come along sooner than he originally anticipated. Fellow January recruit Patrick Dorgu made his United debut on Friday night, starting and storing 45 minutes under his belt. Much to almost everybody's surprise, the former Lecce man started at right wing back, but Amorim explained his thinking behind the decision post-match. The Dane's next aim will be to build up his minutes and add to the 45 he stored under his belt against Leicester. He trained on Monday and pulled his snood over his mouth and nose to try and adjust to the Manchester temperatures at this time of year. Despite making the bench for each of United's last 4 matches, Victor Lindelof has not featured since he was forced off at half-time in the 4-3 Carabao Cup defeat to Tottenham Hotspur on December 19th. The Swede is likely to leave Old Trafford in the summer amid the fact he is out of contract, but Martinez's injury has left United a man light. After being included in each of the last 4 matchday squads, the Swede's next ambition is to try and get some minutes under his belt. Rasmus Højlund looked deeply frustrated during the win over Leicester, as another goalless game extended his dry spell in front of goal to 14 matches. The Dane has experienced a testing time this season, and you sense he is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders every time he takes to the field. However, he appeared to in a jovial mood in Monday's training session, donning a grin on his face, suggesting he is remaining relaxed. Everyone is hoping he can end his barren spell as quickly as possible. With the Turkish transfer window still open until Tuesday evening, there is still a chance Casemiro could go before the bell sounds. The Brazilian midfielder has recently been linked with Besiktas amid his recent reduction in opportunities at Old Trafford. Things can change quickly in the closing stages of any transfer window, but his involvement in Monday's training session at Carrington would suggest he is going nowhere. Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim will enjoy the rare luxury of a clear midweek this week after his side automatically qualified for the last 16 of the Europa League last month. United finished the league phase of the new Europa League format 3rd in the table, meaning they are one of 8 clubs who have automatically progressed to the first knockout round of the competition. Those who finished between 9th and 24th now face a 2-legged playoff tie to try and join United in the last 16, with the first legs of those ties taking place this Thursday evening. The return legs will take place the following Thursday. United went into their concluding league phase fixture against FCSB in Bucharest just under a fortnight ago with the knowledge that a win would be enough to see them through. Second-half goals from Diogo Dalot and Kobbie Mainoo sealed a routine 2-0 win. Amorim wanted to avoid the playoff round at all costs, saying ahead of the 2-1 win over Rangers a week earlier. We need to win it because it is really important for the classification to try and avoid 2 games in the playoffs to have more time to train, so everything is important in this moment. As a result of winning 5 and drawing 3 of their 8 league phase outings, United can plan for Sunday's Premier League clash with Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium without the distraction of a midweek assignment. United have experienced something of a fixture marathon since Amorim'S first game in charge on November 24th, playing 20 games in just under 11 weeks. The longest period they went without a game during that time was just 7 days. That 7-day period came between United's 2-2 draw with Liverpool at Anfield, which they had 6 days to prepare for since their previous outing, and their FA Cup third-round triumph over Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. United's performances against Liverpool and Arsenal last month rank as the best they have produced under Amorim thus far, meaning it may not be coincidental that they have come on the back of extended periods of time on the Carrington training pitches. Obviously, it always helps when you have time to train and to prepare the games a little bit more, said United captain Bruno Fernandes the day after the victory at Arsenal. It is important. As a result of qualifying for the Europa League last 16 automatically, 9 days will have passed since United's last outing when they arrive at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday afternoon. It will mark the longest gap they have had between matches since the November international break. The Portuguese chief has regularly banged the drum about the importance of getting to spend time on the training pitches at Carrington ever since arriving from Sporting Lisbon 3 months ago. His 3-4-2-1 system has forced United's players to adapt to a completely new way of life. Any transitional period is going to feature setbacks, and United have experienced no shortage of those recently. But getting time on the training ground to continue adapting to the head coach's demands and philosophy should only stand the players in good stead. However, the onus will be on them to prove Amorim right come kick-off time in North London on Sunday afternoon. Once they cross the white line, there is only so much the United head coach can control. United do not have a midweek fixture again until facing Ipswich Town at Old Trafford on February 26th, meaning both this week and next week are clear of a midweek assignment. United face Everton in what will be their very last visit to Goodison Park a week on Saturday, 6 days after the clash with Spurs, meaning they will get more adequate training time next week. United's best performances so far under Amorim have followed a solid number of days' worth of training, meaning it should not be too great a surprise if United turn up in North London and add to Spurs' woes. However, Amorim needs his players to ensure history does repeat itself.